It is noon, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I am going to first go ahead and let you all know in Spanish how to access interpretation, if that is something that you would like to do.
Muy buenas tardes. Si los participantes necesitan escuchar o quieren escuchar esta presentación en español, pueden hacer clic en el icono del globo terráqueo que está en la parte inferior de su barra en la pantalla de Zoom, hacer clic y escoger español para que puedan escuchar la interpretación en español. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone so much for being here. My name is Leah Raffa, and I am with the DPS Substance Use Prevention Program here at Republic Schools. And this is a part of our monthly webinar series that we do on the second Wednesday of every month. Every month we bring in an expert from around the community to talk about something related to substance use prevention. And today I'm so excited that we have our partners at One Chance to Grow Up here. We worked with One Chance to Grow Up way back since they were Smart Colorado. And it has just been a pleasure to work with you all. So today we have Julie Dreifaldt. Julie is a community liaison for One Chance to Grow Up, and she passionately and tirelessly advocates for kids and equips adults to talk about today's marijuana. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn this over to you. Before I turn it over to you, I want to let you all know that we will have time for questions at the end. And down at the bottom, just throughout this, if you want to put any questions that you have in that section, and we will make sure to get to them. So again, thank you so much, Julie, for being here.
Thank you, Leah. I'm so excited to be here. The partnership with DPS has been extraordinary over the years. So thank you so much. And thank you all for being here and listening to what I have to say and caring about our kids, our greatest resource and our most vulnerable population at the moment. So I'm going to do a quick presentation. Like Leah said, please put your chats or your questions in the chat, and I'm more than happy to help answer them as best as I can. So as Leah said, we are One Chance to Grow Up. And we educate and we have policy and we just protect kids. So we're in this place. So this is me. I'm a ENFP on the Myers-Briggs scale. So people and connection are something that really motivates me and feeds me. So it's hard for me not to see your beautiful faces, but you can see mine. Not beautiful, old, but a little bit about me so you can, but this is me in a slide format. I'm a huge lover of music. This is me at the Taylor Swift concert with my teenage daughters. I acted like a complete fool, enjoyed every moment of it. My husband and I have been married for 25 years. He's amazing to put up with me, to be honest. We have 3 children and 2 giant Great Danes. Our kids are 18, 20, and 22. And this is our old Mastiff who hates the Great Danes. So that's where we are. I love to cook. Huge Nuggets fan. Love Aaron. He's my favorite. I'm glad he's back recovering after his horrible dog bite. Big Ohio State fan. I'm originally from Cleveland and my family resides in Columbus. So I hate the Michigan team immensely. Big Avs fan. As you see, sports is a huge part of who I am. I love to read. I'm in multiple book groups. Coach Prime may be my next new husband. I've loved what he's done for college sports and for Boulder and actually for the whole state of Colorado. My daughter goes to Mizzou. She's in the nursing school. So I have become a new lover of SEC sports as well. I play tennis, not well. I snowshoe adequately. I love kids and I play pickleball really poorly. But so that's me in a format. So I just wanted to connect with you on a personal basis and let you know who's talking to you right now. I brought this quote up to our kids and my family at a family dinner the other day, and people protect what they love. So obviously Jacques Cousteau was talking about his beautiful oceans. And my kids and my family, we said, we protect our family, we protect the planet, those sad puppies that are starving on the streets, teen moms, our own health, the turtles. the elderly are rescue dogs, our Great Danes are rescues. And for me, I thought about this quote really resonated me. I love kids. I love them individually, collectively, and literally. I always have. I started babysitting when I was 10 years old, and I think I always will. Like I said, we've been blessed with these 3 kids, and there's no amount of words that can tell you how much I love my own kids. But man, I love their friends. I love my nieces and nephews. We have a new One Chance Youth Council. Those kids are amazing. Little kids, big kids. And I would do anything to protect them. When I read the stories about neglect and abandonment and kids that have been harmed, I get livid, as I'm sure all of you. And then I read about ER visits and accidental poisonings and cannabis-induced psychosis. It's all due to marijuana. This is my personal why on why I do this and why I'm here today. So I thank, again, you all being here. This is kind of the why of One Chance to Grow Up. This is a tough slide. Levi is in the top left corner. He died in 2014 after eating way too many edibles, and his death was not in vain. Politically and policy driven, we got helped get edibles and concentrations sizing on that. Andrew is to the right of him. Andrew's in recovery. He had cannabis-induced psychosis. I'm sorry, Ethan Andrew. You can read about his story on Colorado Public Radio. He did a great story on there. The lungs, this is actually one of my college friends' son who made national news, as he was the first person to get a double lung transplant from vaping. He lives in Detroit. Sammy Yeager's on the far left. He died after a cannabis-induced psychosis shootout with the police in Douglas County. Brian Fullerton is in the middle. He actually was smoking vapes from Delta 8, which are the hemp-derived vapes, and he took his own life, as did Randy Bacchus, who lived in Minnesota but came to Colorado because Colorado had great free weed, is why he came, and he took his own life as well. And then Morgan McCoy is the mother and her little 6-year-old daughter. And they were in People magazine, and I've been able to establish a friendship with her and a professional relationship with her, as she's very adamant about making sure that marijuana is not in kid-friendly packaging and flavors. So that's the collectively for our organization. Very quickly, because I know this is probably not why you're here, but I want you to give you some context on who we are. Like Leah said, we started out as One Chance to Grow Up in 2013. We were invited by Governor Hickenlooper at the time to a stakeholders meeting, and there was 8 priorities, and the public health and the safety of kids was ranked dead last, and the ease of the consumer and the taxation structure was ranked more important. So at that point, we decided we needed to be in this space. And for the last 12 years, we have been the sole voice dedicated to kids. We don't get involved in the conversation of legalization. We are here to just help protect kids post-legalization. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan. We have over 10,000 members from every state. And we're proud to say we've impacted positively 37 pieces of legislation with better outcomes for our kids. This is a roadmap of what we've done. As you probably all know, Denver is the epicenter of marijuana legalization nationally. So what we've done in Denver and in Colorado has actually become best practices in a lot of other states. So we're very proud of that. The THC symbol has become best practice to make sure that everyone knows that this product does have THC in it. So if you have any other interest in learning more about our policies, I'm more than happy to share personally. Why does all this matter? I showed you those beautiful kids that have been hurt or have passed away. And why this matters and is really important. It's the adolescent brain. It's very different than the adult brain. It's very pliable. It's still growing until the age of 25. And some doctors have said for males, it could be up to 27. So the mental health crisis that we're experiencing, not just in Colorado, but nationally, needs to be represented in this conversation as well. We talk, One Chance to Grow Up talks about all kids. Young kids, there was a recent study, I think it was January of last year, that accidental ingestions of marijuana, cannabis, THC are up 1,375%. So kids are getting it. It's not being locked up, and that's another education that needs to happen with parents and care providers. THC can affect children in utero and breastfeeding children. So we have a campaign that we've worked very closely with that for that. And then teens that are unintentionally or intentionally using marijuana. So I'm sure by now you've all heard that it's not the same marijuana as, as it was in high school. It's not your grandma's marijuana, whatever. Yeah, as you see on this slide, it has changed exponentially. It has increased 800% since 2015. So why does that matter? Why does potency matter? Well, there's a couple things. There's very limited research on marijuana anyways, because it's not federally legalized. There's 2 places that in the country that provide marijuana that can be researched. They grow it for research, and it's not at all what this 90%. So we don't even know what it is, but we're seeing some serious repercussions on this high potency. Addiction, psychosis, suicide, sleep issues, anxiety. And as you see on that list, anecdotally, I should say, a lot of people use marijuana for anxiety, for sleep, for depression. And we're finding that the high THC actually causes it and exaggerates those symptoms. This study came out of Denmark a couple years ago. This confirms that the high THC is associated with psychosis. So high potency, if it's 15% or more, if it's consumed 3 times in a week, if it's consumed at all, there's a 3-time increase of psychosis. If it's consumed daily, it's a 5 times. That's a serious number to consider how precious that brain is. And just for clarification, as I see in the bottom, 93% of products in Colorado are over 15%. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for our kids here in Colorado, and we're 7th in the nation with teen suicides. When we show this slide, especially to policymakers and to other parents, this is shocking. In the completed suicides between 15 and 19, 42%, almost 43% of those have THC in their systems in their toxicology report. Why? Correlation, causation, we don't know, but that's a serious number that needs to be investigated. And to break down that number a little bit even further, you can see in the Black and brown communities, that number is even higher. So in boys too, we see in white and Hispanic boys, that number is higher. So again, we want to know why and how we can have a better outcome for these kids. What is it? Almost 67% of Black boys between the ages of 15 and 19, or Black kids 15 and 19 have THC in their systems. We need to know why, and we need to push our policymakers and our public health to know that too. This is interesting. So this is a map of Denver, and you probably can see where you are, your school is among this. So we asked that the list of marijuana licenses from Denver Excise and License kind of be overlaid with a map from the Denver Office of Children's Affairs. So in the darker blue is the map of the child well-being. So these are communities that are more at risk. So they have higher teen birth rates, they have parents without a high school diploma, they have children in a single parent families, there's child poverty, violent crime, unemployment, kindergarten readiness. I think there's 11 different factors. So when we asked to see where the dispensaries were and the grow houses were and the manufacturing were, you can see they're in the communities most at risk. So we're not talking, this map tells a story that there's a huge difference between decriminalization, legalization, and commercialization. It's imperative that a parent is not in prison for marijuana use. But on the other hand, you see that those same kids are exposed to outlet density. And as we know, the more exposure they have, the higher youth rates go. We also do a lot of educating. So these are some billboards we've had over the years. We educate close to the Capitol, near marijuana commercialized zones that we just were talking about, near high schools. A story of success that we had with Denver Public Schools was, I think it was October of 2022, I was speaking at North High School and actually was having a side conversation with some parents and an educator, and they said, we would love to have a Spanish language campaign. So that would be super welcome for the community. So that we turned around and we found some funding and we created a powerful, just in September and October, back to school campaign around North High School. So we had 4 billboards. I think I have them later here in the presentation. In that inverted L, we had a press conference, and we had a digital Spanish campaign that's still running on Pinterest and on LinkedIn to target parents to let them know what was going on. So these are the concentrates. These are state mandated. These came from a bill that was passed in 2021, Bill 1317. And so these are 4 warnings that came from that. They're significant warnings. Unfortunately, these were not really being pushed out, so we decided to push out. So in one way, we did the billboards. We did the 4 billboards like this in Spanish. So as you can see, there's cannabis use disorder, there is mental health outcomes, there's psychotic symptoms, cannabinoid hyperemesis, sorry, I'm not a doctor, which is uncontrolled and repetitive vomiting, which is almost like an allergic reaction. So we let people know that high THC marijuana can cause these issues. Here we are. I think Leah's in one of these pictures here. This was up off of Colfax, and this was one of the campaigns or one of the billboards that we had. And it was just, we were really happy to partner with GPS in this way. So like I said, even 12 years in, there's a lot of confusion. What is marijuana? What is medical marijuana? What is cannabis? What is recreational marijuana, adult marijuana? THC, CBD. I mean, even this is still going on. Just in 2022, a bill sponsor here in Colorado said medical marijuana is non-psychoactive. That's not true at all. The only difference right now in a medical dispensary and a recreational, or we like to call it adult use, because I think recreational is more like hiking or going to football games or cooking for your friends or whatever. So we call it adult use, is the amount of marijuana that you can buy, and then the access, children under you can get a medical card at 18 versus 21 for the adult use. So as you see, all this is THC in this picture. So I will go into a little bit more detail on what this is, but I mean, you can buy CBD at the grocery store that comes from this. I do want to clarify, and I usually have a slide. One Chance Grow Up calls it marijuana, and I know that can sometimes be a polarizing word in some communities, but we choose to use that because that's how Amendment 64 was written, and that's how it was legalized and commercialized here in Colorado. So to be honest, we're not even talking, we're talking about THC, which is the psychoactive component that makes you high. We just were in the shops we shop the shops. We think it's really important to know what products are available, and some of these are pretty shocking. So we picked up this. We were worried that it was called biscotti, again, a very kid-friendly flavor cookie. This one vape pen had 5,000 milligrams of THC. And just so you know, from a legal standpoint, you could only have 10 milligrams in a THC serving for edibles. So, and you can only have 100 per edible packaging as well. So that's very concerning. So none of this is going away. It's a very innovative, marijuana industry is very innovative, and it keeps trying to come up with different ways to bring THC to the market and to our children. Whoops. And I don't want to dwell on this, but this is hemp. So hemp was legalized in the 2018 Farm Bill nationally. So these products, it's kind of the Wild West. Governor Polis has banned them from being in Colorado Delta 8s, but now there's many other derivatives. And like I said, it's like a whole complex science lesson, which I am an English major, so I do not know this. But this is some of the products we recently bought. So one store said they were 18 plus. One said you had to be 21. One said, no, Delta 8 is illegal. One said, oh, sure, come in, we have Delta 8. Somebody asked for my ID, somebody did not. We had one of our younger partners go in and same thing, she was asked for ID and then not. Some of this is legal, some of this is illegal. You can get all this stuff online with no age verification, just are you 21? And all of these products you see here are intoxicating. The one in the forefront, the CBD hash, I bought that and I took off the sticker and it was 2 years bad. Like it was old. It was expired. So when I purchased the 3 psychoactive products online, this is my 18-year-old, 17, she was at the time, last spring. She picked up the order from the mailbox. I said, hey, go get the mail. And she went out. She's like, oh, did you order something from Amazon? And this packaging, which looks pretty benign, had enough THC to get her and her friends high for days. So there is an urgency to figure out the regulation of this matter. And parents beware that it is very easy to get hemp and it is intoxicating and it is legal. So we, like I said, we have this website called thcphotos.org. These are actually products I shopped in Oregon. So we have some tighter restrictions on some of these, but as you can see, there's soda, there's the pretzels smelled amazing. I bought them. And if I hadn't known better, I would have eaten them. The rainbow belts, there's sugar packets that you can put in. Here in Colorado, there's something called Ripple, and it's clear, and you can pretty much make anything intoxicating. I want to tell you what we've done, how we partnered with DPS, and some great things that have happened really quickly on the policy standpoint. So I think you probably all know what 420 is. It's now actually in the Oxford Dictionary, and it's the 20th day of the 4th month, or the time 420. So kids still talk about 420. It's become a day. It really started out as a cannabis consumption event and a free speech event before marijuana was legalized. And now it's just come a day of a smoke fest, a celebration. And I used to be in trade shows, and when I go down to 420, it looks like a big trade show. They're marketing, they're handing out swag, they're showing their products, and they're really trying to, it's a business model, to be honest. So the problem was there was no age requirement to attend 420 here in Denver. And we looked at other states and other cities, and most of them were 21 plus. So we actually did a core request for data from DPS, and we found out that if 420 fell on a holiday or fell on a school day, that attendance was down like 54%, I think is what it was. So we're like, okay, we said, let's work with this. We worked with DPS. They shared out our information. We worked with several schools. Here's 420. As you see, it wasn't just teenagers that were going. There were little kids there in a pool of smoke. And we felt it was really important that somebody kind of protect these. So we got tired of fighting this. So we decided we're gonna make a stink in 2021, which was the first year afterwards. So here's some pictures of the babies there. There's kids in high school. There's kids that are obviously not 21 and have skipped school to go to these things. So we put the pedal to the metal. DPS shared our messaging. Like I said, we had a great news conference. We got 3 mentions on television, and great outcome is going forward in 23 plus. It's going to be a 21 plus. So I want to empower you as parents and as educators and as just citizens that you have a lot of power. This whole act this was super grassroots, very informal, and it took like 3 weeks, and we got a significant outcome that again will be best practice for other states as well. The other issue that we had, this was a couple years ago. So we talked to a lot of SROs, and they said they were finding marijuana in the schools, and a lot of it was in medical packaging. So that was interesting. Again, that was anecdotal, but we're like, okay, so let's figure this out. So medical marijuana, there's no age restrictions. You can get a med card for a 1-year-old, and there are some kids, a very limited amount of kids that are on the medical registry, which we have no problem with. That's between them and their care provider and the parent. There's no potency limit in the medical marijuana, and you can purchase twice as much. So, and then HIPAA, like I said earlier, allows 18-year-olds to see a doctor and obtain a registry card without notifying the parents. And it takes minutes. A lot of these dispensaries have doctors in the back that will get them. So that was the problem. We're like, okay, so let's find some data. So as you can see, there's a very small amount of 0 to 17-year-olds getting a medical marijuana card. And the number one condition was autism. 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, there is a significant increase. I think it was 700% increase and they reported pain. So we know that kids aren't getting cancer or glaucoma or becoming autistic 700% higher. So we were like, okay, kids are innovative. They started buying this product and they could go to as many dispensaries as they wanted to and sell it to their friends back at school. So we decided so this was a longer process. We got the legislative champions involved, and then we gave presentations to organizations. We got editorial pieces done. And the data was pretty damning that even the Denver Post, who's a notoriously pro-marijuana paper, came out in favor of the bill. And we got the bill signed. It passed unanimously in the Senate and overwhelmingly in the House with super strong bipartisan support. We had great coalition partners, including Denver Public Schools, Cherry Creek Schools, Denver Boys and Girls Club, actually statewide Denver Boys and Girls Club, NAMI, the Alliance of Mental Health, Denver or Children's Hospital. This picture was in People magazine. I was very excited because all you could see were my yellow pants. You couldn't see me, but I'm on the far left-hand side, standing behind the governor as he signed it. So to the right, the woman holding the photo is Laura Stack with her husband right behind her, John Stack, and Johnny is their son. They formed an organization called Johnny's Ambassador after he jumped off of a RTD station and took his own life after cannabis-induced psychosis. All right, so does this matter? I mean, yeah, it matters a lot. Currently, I think this number is from December. There's a 70% decrease in kids that are 18, 19, and 20 that are getting medical marijuana cards. So it's got some great data. Unfortunately, something that's not very sexy, but it's really important is data. So as you see in these both circumstances of 420 and this one, we needed data to have any change. This will also collect toxicology reports from all unnatural deaths under the age of 25. And you now have to have 2 doctors and there's a follow-up. So it's really treating medical marijuana like medicine. These are from CDPHE, our health department. These are very strong, very powerful statements to use with your child, with your classroom, with kids that you care about. There's significant outcomes. I mean, I'm not going to read them all to you, but I mean, marijuana can put significant hurdles in place for our kids. So, excuse me. I think the biggest one is developing a psychotic order, a schizophrenia in adult. There's a strong association with that with daily or near daily use. And your brain is precious and it's still growing, and marijuana is affecting our kids' brains different than anything else right now. And the earlier you use and the more you use, these associations do go up. This is a great slide. I think this was just brought to our attention relatively recently. And it is, so first use of alcohol is about the same age for cannabis and alcohol. And then you regular use, it's over 2.5 years. The first use for cannabis to regular use of cannabis is 2.5 months. So we have a very short window of prevention. So that's why educating in middle school and even late elementary school is really important, because once they start using, they become regular users very quickly. I'd love to hear how you see this impacting Denver kids. My email is julie@onechancetogrowup.org. Would be more than happy to hear what you're seeing, how we can help you. These are some of the things that we can empower and engage the community on. We have so these community voices, No THC, and Inform are all newsletters that we send out. So please register at One Chance to Grow Up for our newsletters. The Boys and Girls Club and DPS, all 207 schools, are marijuana-free zone partners. So we have that campaign both in English and Spanish, and we have multiple resources in English and Spanish. So please go to our website. They're free, they're downloadable, use them, share them with people. They're science-based facts and data. And the last thing I want parents and anyone to do is throw their hands up and say, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? This is the time to come alongside your kids and come alongside kids that you care about and let them know that there's a path for them that does not include cannabis at this point. So what can you do? You can sign up, like I said, at One Chance to receive information, to get our newsletters. Get involved with us. Let me know if you're interested in getting involved. We often ask, the session starts today here in Colorado, just down the street. And we're often looking for people to testify on a bill or on a legislation that's happening. Like I said, we have a great youth council. I would love it if you have any kids in mind that you would think would be interested in, that shares our messaging and our thoughts and would be willing to be part of our youth council. That can be, we have kids from across the state right now. We're happy to speak. Leah picked up the phone a couple of months ago and it's like, hey, would you like to talk? So we're more than happy to come speak to your community and leaders, educators, parents, whatever you think the need might be. Talk to your elected officials. I really was never engaged in policy until I started working for One Chance about 6 years ago. And you can move the needle. I mean, your leaders want to hear from their constituents. So I really encourage you to write a letter, pick up the phone, have your kid engaged if they think that, if it's important to them, and just really engage them and tell them that more needs to be done for our kids. You're going to learn a lot. Hopefully you learned a little bit today about the harms, especially the mental health harms of marijuana, today's marijuana and THC on the adolescent brain. Share that information with your friends and neighbors, point them in our direction. And SAMHSA has a great resource. DPS prevention has good information. There's a lot of information out there that can be shared widely. If you, like I said, DPS is one of our marijuana free zone partners, but if you have an organization or a business or a church or synagogue that would be interested in becoming a marijuana free zone, we have stickers to share with you, and we would love to be a partner with you on that. If you feel the need, speak out to the media. We have opportunities for media connections, or help you pen an op-ed if you feel so strongly about this. And then we're on all the social links. You can take a look at that: Facebook, Instagram. We just added Pinterest, which is really interesting. My daughter texted me on Sunday and she's like, Mom, your ad came across my feed. So that was pretty exciting. So that's kind of who we are, what we do, a little bit about potency and protections. And we're here for you as a resource. That QR code will take us to the website. We have parent resources on there and education resources, and also policy resources. We have news, we have some research on there, so you can, view some of this for yourself. So that's kind of where I am. I guess we can go to questions, or what do you want me to do? I'll leave the screen up for a few minutes. Leah. You're on mute.
Thank you, Julie. As always, I learn something from you every time I see you present. So this was fantastic. Yes, we do have a couple of questions in the chat. Really quickly, in case we lose anyone, I am going to put a quick survey in the chat. Really exciting this month. If you take the survey, you have a chance to win 4 tickets to Meow Wolf. So please go ahead and take that survey. But yeah, let's dive into some questions.